The contents of this instructional video will cover importance of driving safely, preparing to drive, driving on the freeway, driving on city streets, speeding, drinking and driving, parking, what to do in an accident. As we drive our vehicles, it is very easy to become complacent. We take things for granted and we do things that are considered risky, like running a yellow or red light, speeding, and or driving too fast for conditions. But driving is not routine. It can and often is hazardous. Consider that in the United States today, every 5 seconds an automobile crash occurs, and every 10 seconds an injury occurs from a crash. Even worse, one person dies every 12 minutes from an automobile accident. Most of these incidents occur during the workday, and many could be prevented. The number of drivers and vehicles on the road increases every year. First steps in preventing accidents are taken before you enter the vehicle. While checking the pressure is a good time to check tread depth using the penny trick. Placing a penny head first into the tread walls can tell if the tire has good tread. If the top of Abe's head is still visible, then it is time to get a new tire or tires. The penny trick works because the distance between the rim and Lincoln's head is 1/16 of an inch, the minimum recommended tread depth. When a tire tread is less than 1/16 of an inch, a vehicle can have handling problems in adverse conditions. In some states, you can be issued a ticket if your tires have less than the recommended amount. Finally, check the condition of your windshield wipers. Windshield wipers are often overlooked, and worn-out ones are a safety hazard. Once you sit in the vehicle, adjust the seat and mirrors for comfort and safety. Make sure that the seat is positioned properly so that you can reach the pedals easily and your back is supported. Once you are positioned in the seat, check the side and rear view mirrors to eliminate blind spots. Blind spots are the areas that can't be seen without turning your head. And finally, fasten your seatbelt. Never try and disable any seatbelt. Make sure the belt is adjusted across your lap and on your shoulder. A seatbelt should always be worn, even when going on short trips. Not wearing a seatbelt is an accident waiting to happen, and in most states is illegal. If you don't wear a seatbelt and you have an accident at just 30 miles an hour, the impact would be the same as jumping from a 3-story building. In the event of an accident, a seatbelt will prevent occupants of the vehicle from colliding into or through the windshield. Before starting out on your trip, make sure you are familiar with the instruments in the cab and on the dashboard. Know the location of the turn signals, windshield wipers control, heating and cooling controls, emergency flashers, panel lights, headlights, the low beam, high beam dimmer switch, speedometer, and emergency brake. Know how to use the various items in the cab and on the dashboard of the vehicle. It is also a good idea to occasionally have someone check the brake lights as you press on the brake pedal. Be familiar with the steering and braking characteristics of the vehicle you are driving. Larger vehicles and vehicles with heavy loads need wider turn areas and longer braking times and distances. Small and lighter vehicles can make sharper turns and have shorter braking distances. The most essential thing needed when driving is a good safety mindset. Having a good safety mindset means recognizing and preventing hazards. Some of the major causes of traffic accidents are fatigue and frustration. If you are tired, roll down the windows, taking in fresh air, or stop for a cup of coffee. If these procedures do not work, it is advisable to safely pull off the road and get some rest. Anger is never a good emotion to have when you drive. If you are upset, safely pull over away from traffic. Do something to release the frustration, such as count to 10. Step out of the vehicle for a few moments. Close your eyes and relax. After your anger is diffused, it will be safer for you to resume your driving. While you drive, don't be distracted. Focus on the road in front and glance to the sides for any hazards that might approach. Maintain an appropriate speed. Obey speed limits and do not speed. Driving too fast for the conditions is one of the leading causes of accidents. While driving on two-lane roads, passing is a routine act. Make sure you know how to pass properly. First, it is important to see well ahead of the vehicle that you are about to pass. This will allow you to know if there is enough distance to pass. Before you pass, check to see what kind of line is between your lane and the lane you will be passing in. A solid line means do not pass. Don't pass another vehicle under any circumstances. If the line is broken, it means to take care when passing. Once it is safe to pass, use your turn signal to indicate that you are changing lanes and begin to pass. Pass quickly and don't linger in the other vehicle's blind spot. Don't cut off the vehicle you are passing by moving back into their lane too soon. It is recommended not to change lanes until you can see both headlights in your rear view mirror. Again, use your turn signal to indicate to the driver in the other car you are about to merge back into their lane. Semi-trailers and big trucks can present safety problems as well. Trucks handle very different than smaller vehicles. Some tractor-trailers can weigh as much as 40 times more than cars. Because of its weight, a truck needs more distance to stop. A loaded truck may need 300 feet to stop when going 50 miles per hour. When passing a truck, remember, you may need much more room than normal because of its length. Trucks also have larger blind spots, so pass them quickly and cautiously. Tractor-trailers can create a strong wind current when traveling down the road at higher speeds. It is easy for this wind to cause a smaller vehicle to weave and lose control. While passing, be aware of this wind current. Never follow tractor-trailers too close. Always make sure you are far enough behind to be able to maneuver if trouble. Visibility can be another hazard of driving. The ability to see and be seen is very important. Statistics prove that the most dangerous times to drive are dusk and dawn. During this time of the day, the sun is low and often in the driver's eyes, which impairs and blinds their vision. The use of sunglasses or the vehicle's sun visor will aid the driver. Use high beam lamps at night when driving outside of city areas to increase your ability to see. Switch to low beams if you are behind other vehicles, facing oncoming traffic, or driving in snow or fog. Inclement weather can make road conditions hazardous. If the weather is bad, it is a good practice to allow extra time to get to your destination. One cause of accidents due to wet or rainy conditions is hydroplaning. This occurs when tires build up a film of water between the road surface and the tire while driving. When a vehicle is hydroplaning, the vehicle literally floats. The steering wheel will feel light and you won't have any control over the vehicle. Hydroplaning is most dangerous when the vehicle accelerates, turns, brakes, or travels at a high rate of speed. Hydroplaning could also cause the car to skid. Slowly let off the accelerator, allowing the car to slow down until the tires have a grip on the road. To prevent hydroplaning, choose good tires with plenty of tread. The more tread a tire has, the more water it can clear from its path. Always try to avoid puddles of water. When you drive through a puddle, it causes water to splash into the engine components and may cause the car to stall. Whenever possible, stay near the center of the road. Most roads have arches that are highest in the center to allow drainage. Wintry conditions can also make driving hazardous. Many times, ice and packed snow are hidden by fresh snow. This makes it hard to see and easy to lose control when driving on it. Clear all windows of ice and snow before driving. It is extremely dangerous to drive with limited visibility due to ice or snow-covered windshields. During winter, you should drive at lower speeds. A longer braking distance is needed when stopping on ice or snow. It is important to keep the car moving at all times, except when traffic laws apply. If you are driving a vehicle that is rear-wheel drive, it may want to veer to one side when accelerating. Accelerate slowly to minimize this situation. If a rear-wheel drive vehicle starts to slide, pump the brakes gently and turn the vehicle into the direction of the slide. Do not panic and slam on the brakes. It is often helpful to put snow chains on the tires to help grip the road. Always drive where the snow looks fresh on the road. This will help keep the vehicle off the ice and packed snow and allow you better maneuverability. Fog can be difficult to drive in as well. Dense fog limits visibility. The heavier the fog, the less visibility you will have. Some vehicles have fog lights that can be controlled separate from the headlights. Only use them when visibility is low to avoid blinding other drivers. In foggy conditions, use low beams for best visibility. Never assume the car in front of you will give ample warning time to upcoming road hazards. There are many things inside the car that can distract the driver as well. A National Highway Traffic Safety Administration (NHTSA) study showed that 80% of crashes and 65% of near crashes are caused by the driver's inattentiveness within 3 seconds before the event. Billboards, accidents, and other events on the road cause the driver to be distracted from what they are doing. Focus on the road ahead to help prevent you from getting into an accident. Many drivers leave their house late for an event and try to perform personal maintenance while driving. The driver is then not aware of what is going on around them, but rather focused on how their hair looks or if their makeup looks good. Take care of personal maintenance at home. This will help you stay focused on the road. Adjusting the radio or picking out a CD can cause a driver to take their eyes off the road. Taking your eyes off the road for just a short time is all it takes to cause an accident. Make your music selection before driving. Eating while driving is another dangerous distraction. When eating, your hands are not free to maneuver the vehicle, and you tend to take your eyes off the road. This will make your reaction time much slower. Avoid eating while driving. Instead, eat in a restaurant or in your car while it is parked. The use of cell phones and other personal electronics while driving are also major distractions. Cell phones have two main hazards. First, it requires you to take your eyes off the road to dial or text. And second, people become so absorbed in a conversation that they don't concentrate on the road. Many companies ban cell phone use while driving on company business. Many areas of the country have even outlawed cell phone use while driving. A recent survey found that 81% of drivers talk or text on their cell phone while driving. Many accidents happen when backing out of a parking space. Before entering your vehicle to back up, take time to look around the parking area. Always look behind you before backing up. Back up slowly to allow yourself time to stop if another vehicle approaches. Driving on a freeway can be dangerous. Generally, there are many vehicles traveling on a freeway, all driving at a fast pace. Many highways have up to 4 or 5 driving lanes. It is always best to stay in the right or middle lanes whenever possible. The left lanes are for passing. The far right lane accommodates slower traffic. It also gives you an escape route if your car is having troubles. Always be careful about merging traffic that is entering or leaving the highway. Middle lanes should be used by the majority of traffic. In these lanes, it is easier to travel at the same speed as most of the other vehicle traffic. However, there is no escape route if your vehicle is having problems. The far left lane should be used for passing only, although many people drive in this lane continuously. This lane sometimes has a means of escape, but should still only be used for passing. Some on-ramps contain metering lights. These lights are designed to only allow 1 or 2 vehicles to enter the ramp at a time, thereby controlling traffic flow. Always look around to determine that the path is clear for you to merge into ongoing traffic. Always use your turn signal to indicate your intentions. In many larger cities, there are high-occupancy vehicle, HOV, or carpool lanes. These lanes are for vehicles that have 2 or more people in the vehicle. Some municipalities allow motorcycles to use the carpool lane. To enter or leave the high-occupancy lane, you must wait till there is a clearly marked entrance or exit. Depending on the setup of the carpool lane, you may be able to bypass the red metering lights at the on-ramp. Be careful not to cut people off when passing them on the highway. Make sure you have enough room to see and be seen while following someone. The faster you travel, the more room you need to stop. It is a good practice to allow 3 seconds to pass between you and the vehicle in front of you. To determine the distance between your car and the vehicle in front of you, pick a stationary object on the side of the road and count how many seconds it takes for you to pass the same object after the car in front of you has passed it. Additional clearance is always necessary when weather conditions such as rain, snow, ice, or fog affect your visibility or ability to stop your vehicle. Give large trucks and vehicles towing trailers extra room. If you hear emergency sirens, see the lights of an emergency vehicle, you should pull over to the right side of the road. Always pull as far right as possible before stopping. Once the emergency vehicle is passed, you may then continue driving. Many drivers do not make complete stops at stop signs or lights. These so-called California stops are done by not coming to a full stop at a stop sign or light and rolling right through. This is not a legal stop. It is important to stop and make sure that the intersection is clear of any vehicles or pedestrians before moving on. Pedestrians have the right of way at all times. In most states, you may make a right turn at a red light after coming to a complete stop if there is no sign prohibiting it. Before proceeding, make sure that no other vehicle is coming. Be aware of pedestrians, bicyclists, or other moving vehicles before making your turn. There are many signs to be aware of, such as speed limits, no access during certain times, yield, stop signs, and more. Be sure to obey all signs. Remember that the posted speed limit sign is the maximum speed limit, not the recommended speed. Intersections with sidewalks generally have crosswalks that indicate where the sidewalk would be if there were no street present. Crosswalks are areas that allow pedestrians to safely cross the street. Many intersection crosswalks are marked by solid white lines. Crosswalks in residential areas may not be marked at all. School zone crosswalks may be painted yellow. Some intersections around school zones have crossing guards that should always be obeyed. Remember, pedestrians always have the right of way, whether crosswalks are marked or not. Don't pass a vehicle from behind that has stopped at a crosswalk because there may be pedestrians crossing that you can't see. Before accelerating from a stop when a light turns green, count out 3 seconds before entering the intersection. During those 3 seconds, look both ways before proceeding at the green light. Speeding is defined as exceeding the speed limit or driving too fast for the condition. Speeding reduces the amount of time available to avoid a crash, increases the likelihood of crashing, and increases the severity of the crash. Speeding is a major factor in traffic fatalities, killing more than 30 vehicle occupants per day, according to the National Safety Council's Injury Facts. Pay attention to the speed limit signs in the area you are driving. In most areas, the speed limits are as follows: 15 to 25 miles per hour for school zones, 25 to 30 miles per hour for residential areas, 35 to 45 miles per hour for main streets in cities, 50 to 65 miles per hour on major highways through cities, 45 to 65 miles per hour on rural 2-lane roads, 55 to 70 miles per hour on rural expressways, 65 to 75 miles per hour on interstate highways. The general law for speed is to only go as fast as the conditions safely allow. You could be cited for speeding even if you are driving slower than the speed limit, but still too fast for given road conditions. Drinking is a major factor in traffic fatalities. Every year, over 30% of traffic-related deaths in the United States are attributed to alcohol. Drinking just one drink will impair your ability to judge speed and distance, as well as slow down your reaction time. Each state has different blood alcohol content, BAC, restrictions. BAC is the concentration of alcohol in blood and is usually measured as mass per volume. The legal blood alcohol content level in all states is 0.08. In many states, you can have your license suspended on the first drink and driving offense. In some states, if you are under 21, the BAC is 0.0. A drunk driver may think they are driving okay, but usually they will swerve, drive too fast, or too slow. The law also covers driving under the influence of any drug or medicine. It does not matter if the drug is illegal, prescribed, or over the counter. Police are trained to recognize someone who possesses these attributes. The officer can pull the vehicle over and require the driver to go through sobriety tests. If the driver fails any part of these tests, the officer will take them to jail. The driver will then see a judge, who will then sentence the person to a jail term, suspend the license, and/or require community service if found guilty. If there was a fatality involved with a wreck caused by a drunk driver, the drunk driver could serve many years in jail, receive many fines, and be charged with murder in some cases. The safest practice is to never drive after drinking, have a designated driver, or take a cab. The vehicle must face the same direction as the flow of traffic.
I'm going home.
Never
And
park
get what
against
you get
traffic.
soup for dinner then.
When parking
That's
on a
fine.
street,
Soup and
the
salad
front and
for
rear
dinner.
wheels should be
Perfect.
no more
Okay.
than 18 inches from
See
the
you
curb.
there.
Yeah, I know you.
If you are parking on a hill, when facing up, park with the front wheels turned left
What?
and against the curb. When you are parking on the downslope, turn your wheels to the right against the
It looks
curb.
good around
When you
Looking
park, it
better
is
than
good
that.
practice to set
I
the
still gotta
parking
do
brake.
something in that.
If your vehicle
I
has
wanted to
automatic
ask you something
transmission,
about this.
use the park
If I could
position.
find some kind of a...
Leave the vehicle in gear if your vehicle has a standard transmission. This will keep the car from rolling down the street and into another object or a person. If you are on the highway and need to stop, pull completely off the road for your safety and to keep from obstructing traffic. Parking spaces marked for the handicapped require a handicap placard hanging from the rearview mirror or a special license plate to legally park. Never park within 15 feet of any fire hydrant or 7.5 feet of any railroad crossing. Many areas paint the curbs different colors to indicate whether parking is allowed. A red curb means no parking at any time. Curbs painted yellow mean that area is a loading zone and can only be used by vehicles loading and unloading materials. Green curbs indicate limited parking zones and can only be used for a specified amount of time. The time period is usually 5 to 15. If you are in an accident, no matter how minor, never leave the scene. Failure to stop at the scene of an accident will make you a hit-and-run driver.
Is that
Don't
you?
leave the scene of an accident until law enforcement arrives. Life and health are more important than an automobile. Check for injuries first. If the accident is minor and there are no major injuries, move the vehicles out of the traffic lanes and to a safe place. Many cities have traffic investigation areas. Call the police, no matter how minor the accident.
Rain for that?
Stay calm. Never sign any document unless it is for the police or insurance agent. Make immediate notes about the accident. Include all damage to both vehicles involved. Take pictures if you can do so safely. Get as much insurance information as possible. If the name of the driver is different from that on the insurance card, inquire about the difference. Don't ever admit fault or accuse the other driver of an accident. Call your insurance agent and employer and notify them of the accident as soon as possible.